Season 3, Episode 1, the one with the questions.
Ear licking.
Here we go again.
I know, here we go again, right? But ear licking. Oh gosh. Did you know that you can get in trouble for things that you do outside of work by your employer?
I unfortunately.
Did you know that?
I did know that, but I'm curious how that ties into
ear licking. Okay, so imagine that you are at a bar having a happy hour with your team. And
so it's like quasi-work, quasi-not.
Yeah, see, so it's associated, right?
With coworkers.
With coworkers,
Okay.
that's right. There's no one else there with your party except your team. And you're having a good time, and you're maybe an hour or two in, right? So you're a little sloshy, right? You're feeling it. You're feeling good. And then, people want to take a group photo. Well, isn't that dumb? I was going to say sweet, but really that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's the beginning of the party.
But yes,
that's
the
not
beginning.
a 6 drinks in.
No, it's not, right?
Yes,
But evidence, right?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
That's
Evidence.
just Jamie?
I mean,
Evidence,
I'm doing like
Not
happy hour
needed.
evidence from the workplace, right? But during that photo, guess what happens? You can guess, right? Because I already kicked it
ear
up a
was
little.
licked.
An ear was licked. A supervisor licked the ear of one of his employees, his team members.
His former team member at this point.
Correct.
Yeah, because you don't work there no more.
Well, somebody's either fleeing the job or going to be fled.
And he did a little ear swirl in there.
I was wondering what the position was, and then where, if it was just the tip of the ear,
like a bite.
A little, but
was
not
it a nibble?
Ooh.
It wasn't a nibble.
It wasn't a Mike
literally
Tyson?
like like a little, like a circular, like.
Was that caught on picture?
It was very close.
Okay.
On the photo.
Back into the investigation, right?
A live
You look what-
photo.
exactly.
Oh, I know. This is back in the day a little bit. I don't think
a boomerang?
We got you on live photo.
We can see it.
Could you imagine? But that
I
is
can,
so,
now
yeah,
I'm-
you can. Those are things we would investigate.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
ooh,
my
turn
God.
that photo on. Let me see
Yeah.
it. No, I think it was a little bit back in the day before our photos came to life.
Wow.
But could you imagine?
Now, which were
supervisor
you in the situation? Were you supervisor, Lee? Or
No, I'm not into that.
Okay.
Well, maybe I am.
That's
But
state
not
school.
in the workplace.
That's a state school. That might be a liberal arts school. That's a liberal arts level of.
There you go.
We'll dip our toe or our ear.
We'll try it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But of course, as these things go, as you start investigating, you realize, oh my gosh, so this is the workplace creeper.
Yeah.
The supervisor's always doing creepy shit like this.
What else?
No one had ever shared anything, because people do make the assumption, I'm going to talk from my position as an HR leader, that we know everything. We do not. We only know what you all share with us and that we see.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we literally have to see it, or someone has to tell us about it, right? We don't always get the rumor mill that, so-and-so's a creeper down on the shop floor.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, so.
They have to be comfortable, too, to share that information with us.
Absolutely.
But wait,
And because there's always fear of retaliation, right? Because this was a supervisor who's doing the ear licking.
Exactly. It makes it that much more difficult.
but let's go back to that moment. What, did the person jump scare? Like, what was the reaction in the moment of the person?
See, I would have swung.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I think she took the photo. I think it was like a quick swish in the ear, and then, we're taking the photo,
I would have been.
Which is a gross exploitation of power right there.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, paralyzed right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, she had shared with somebody else who then reports that. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So then it kind of gets bubbled up, and you start investigating and realize, well, this is the grossest person ever, who's going station to station out on the shop floor and being uncomfortably close to people, and ghosts with the clay, like Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore sort of shit. You know what I mean?
They're not looking as pleased as Demi is in that situation. They have that paralyzed where you're like, well, what face do I have to make to not get fired?
Yeah, and it's sad. I hate when those would pop. I hate hate
I
that
feel
shit.
like you in your HR career have had this like game of operation of like the different body parts that you've had in some of these like between toes. I can't
wait.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
But that's something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
something. But that's probably a topic for this. For some of these episodes are things that happen outside of work that can. But people think that it's like the Harry Potter invisibility cloak of like I'm out of the office.
Yeah,
I have
be held liable.
I have
for
First
this.
Amendment rights. This is a U.S. concept. I have First Amendment rights to do anything, and sometimes people get a shock. What does that have to do with you?
Yeah.
Why was it happy hour?
And often I will say I don't give a shit what you do outside the office.
Correct.
However, if you're doing it to your coworker and you're doing it consensually, I almost said sexually, non-consensually, and that person is your that is your supervisor doing it? Oh, no, hard
Goodness,
stop.
I've had some issues with things people have done outside of the office that have nothing to do with coworkers. But that's for another episode. And for now, I'm literally like, I hate a wet willy.
Oh,
I know, me too.
I mean, I don't know. I guess. Well, I should. Maybe there are people that like that, so I don't want to shame anybody. But normally it's children.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fathom. But there's people that'll be like, oh my god, fuck yeah, because when their supervisor does that, they're like, that is my ticket, and that's what they put in their back pocket. And that stays in their back pocket until something happens to them. I'm like, you're not performing exactly the golden ticket, which is the performance issue.
It's giving Wonka.
Let me bring out, it's giving Wonka the golden ticket. Let me show you this photo of my supervisor licking my ear, and then that conversation changes very quickly.
Like we use it as leverage. Like I want a raise. I want a 25% raise.
That's right. That is the golden ticket. And HR professionals are nodding, and you are listening because you can think about those golden tickets get revealed, and it's like the reverse Uno cards.
Yeah, and it may not even be the person whose ears licked that gets the golden ticket. Because if a coworker sees that, it could be consensual that you're licking in the photo. There could be an affair there, right? And now there's favoritism. And then a peer sees that, and they escalate that up too. Oh, something's going on with those two, and this isn't fair, and we got this. Oh my God, all the things, right? There's so many scenarios. But in this one, she did not appreciate the tongue in the ear.
I'm glad that even if she didn't feel comfortable reporting somebody else did. Well, that kicks us off.
Yes.
Wow.
Water cooler talk, a little water cooler talk.
I
know. Everyone keep their ears dry. Now, what I would love to do is welcome everybody to season 3, right? I mean, here we go. We're kicking it off by filming in San Antonio, Texas for this round.
Yeehaw!
That was a little weak, yeehaw.
Yeah.
It was like, yeehaw!
It's more of the foal than the robust thoroughbred. Dave Ramsey would not approve. I'm more of a donkey than a thoroughbred this morning, but that's what's her. We'll warm up.
But we were just commenting how much we love San Antonio and how beautiful it is here.
Yes.
Just everything, the architecture, the streets,
the people,
the trees. Oh my God, the people are amazing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because of course I'm
partial,
biased because I'm born and raised here and all of
It's
that.
absolutely stunning.
We love it.
Big fans. Definitely. I mean, it's been a great place to visit.
Yeah, we love it. And so hopefully we can come back and film here again. I'm going to add myself because, this is like episode 1 of season 3. We're just now starting. But no, we do love the San Antonio. So definitely come and visit if you haven't. That's my little, for the tourist bureau,
Jamie and I are relatively objective and we echo that.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So we got 5 stars so far. That's good. But what I'd love to do too is just run through the agenda for this episode, right? So we are going to get into some cringe corporate speak, and Jamie's got that for us today, which is great. And the hot topic for this meeting is all the questies for the besties, right? So we get a lot of questions from you all. We're so thankful for that. And so we are going to answer a few of those for you all today, so you can learn a little more about us, which is always fun, and we can share a little more with you all. And then, of course, we end with some Q's and C's. We transition into questions and comments. Sound good?
Awesome.
It's like a warm blanket. When I hear the theme song come in and I have this agenda, I feel right with the
I'm
world.
still obsessed with our theme song.
I know.
We picked a good one.
Jamie,
well,
what you
cool.
got?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So for our season 3 first cringe, corporate speak is fun fact.
I just shuddered.
Yeah, and let's be honest, this is typically heavily used by HR.
It is. We are guilty. I'm
Yeah.
totally guilty.
I'm guilty myself.
I'm totally guilty.
I'm
of
not
this.
guilty. I hate that shit.
I personally hate it too. I and I get why we're doing it, right? We're trying to like loosen up the crowd or, the meeting or the all team, the all hands, whatever. And I get the point of it. But, there are people that are introverted or who truly just don't want to share a fun fact. So it definitely, it can make it a little awkward to start a meeting that way.
Yeah, like that is a
people
way.
on the spot.
Oh yeah, like you said introverts, right? Well, I'm an introvert, just FYI. I can play both sides though. I'm ambidextrous, personality-wise, but I'm an actress. But anyways, it is, man, when someone says, we're going to go around the table, everyone give a fun fact. I mean, inside, I'm destroyed.
Oh,
like
I even myself.
I need a pill. Like,
if I'm not the one asking the question, I'm panicking. I'm like, I revert back to 7-year-old Jamie counting paragraphs of which I'm going to read next for the class. Like, that's my anxiety. I'm like, shit, I got to give a fun fact.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I'm definitely guilty of it, but also guilty not even saying it as much as like I love it because I love to learn information about other people, but I think it's like that cringe that you look and people are like, what the
not again.
It's not fun fact.
God damn it, Ashley.
And so it is that. And so I've done an interview with Carla Miller from the Washington Post, who's great, and but we had talked about this, and I had said in this like interview like, oh, like someone literally said that to me. We were gonna have like an icebreaker meeting. She's like, "Okay, can we not have these? Like, it makes me very uncomfortable." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm really glad you told me that." And like, it just opened my eyes on that. And again, I felt like I was vulnerable. And I just think it's important for people to speak up and say when they change. The comments section, like, oh my god, people are like, "You dumbass bitch." Of course, people don't like that. And I'm like, okay, I know. So it is like, I remember reading. Ouch. I know there's this. I thought comment section on social media or something. Comment section on news articles are a whole.
Yeah.
But I just think it's just one of those lessons that it's so important for anybody. Sometimes you're not a leader, quote, you're not managing people, but as a colleague, you may do certain things. And just recognizing one of the great things about work is that it's one of the very few places in life that you actually do encounter people very different from you, and you can kind of curate your social media, your friends, marginally your family, but just recognizing what's comfortable to you isn't comfortable to others. And for me, that's been something that I've loved, is when people do open up and share. And sometimes you may learn that, but you learn that when they're comfortable and as they're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck your fun facts.
Well,
make them optional. Just make everything optional.
I started doing at one company that I worked at, we would always have an HR department-wide all hands meeting, and we'd always do an icebreaker. And so I found that if I was presenting the icebreaker fun fact for that, I would give it to people like a day in advance. And it seemed to help, and there was better engagement and better responses, and sometimes people brought like show and tell with their fun fact. But still, I understand. Like I said, I even get anxiety when it's asked of me and I wasn't prepared. I'm like, fuck, I gotta think of something good.
Well, that's probably that. It's more that.
Yeah.
Well, the anxiety. What's interesting? But what did I? See, the best thing is this is why I moved to Australia. I didn't move to Australia for my family, for my career.
Just for your fun fact.
Yeah, just exactly. So I could come back. I could come back. People go to me
and have a fun fact.
Yes. That was it. That was the only reason, really. I didn't, the whole time I'm there and collected things. So fun fact. Oh, tell me about something that. Well, I have a list of 10 of them I created so that I have. That's it. That's the whole reason.
Oh,
I moved to Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So that's your fun fact then.
It's my go-to. Obviously, it's my go-to. And the problem is that people know that. Then I have to go deep and think, well, what story could I share from Australia? But it's a good fun fact. People from Australia probably don't think living in America is a fun fact because we're not as fun as Australians are. But yeah, I have a go-to fun. I have a go-to fun fact, or like that's why I do unusual things. Like I went to clown camp.
I'm sorry. What? What? Did you say clown camp?
Well, I went to educational camp. and it included, I took a math course and a clown course. And this is why I don't have these stories about state school and being adventurous personally.
Wait,
Hold
on, skirt. Yeah. In college you went to?
No, in middle school.
Oh,
in
okay. I feel
no,
a little bit better about
no,
this.
No, middle school. But anyway, so I have, but the things like that, you can say that, and I would think that's fun, and they're going to be, everybody else in the meeting is going to be like, fucking just another thing of this complete weirdo.
There you go. You could just have a meeting of just all your fun facts.
Yeah, but that's when you do unusual things, that can be helpful.
So
what's your guys'
that's what I was
your
gonna
go-to?
say.
Okay, well that can be the first question
Yeah.
then of
Okay,
the Questies for the Besties. Then we can go around and we can start with a fun fact.
All right, I've gone.
Piggyback off the fringe corporate speak. There we go.
I don't like have a go-to one. Like I usually always switch it up. But like I'll say something really stupid and generic to like Halloween's my favorite holiday. Or, you know, I like keep it very basic and simple when I respond to a fun fact. Like, what would fun fact about you?
Yeah, I always, my go-to, because I do have like a kind of a go-to, is I'm the only child on both sides of our family that we can trace back for like 8 generations.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty
cool,
crazy.
though. See,
I
that is a
come
cool
from a
fun fact.
massive
Right,
family.
you do.
My
Yeah.
dad's one of 11, mom's one of
Yeah.
7, and so, and then they're, you know,
Right.
they are big, you know,
Yeah.
my grandpa, lots of kids,
Interesting.
yeah, so
Very cool.
just a bunch of bunnies, you know, in my in my family tree. You
Yeah.
know, so my parents, and now I don't really
Yeah.
want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
very crazy. I know, exactly. Okay, that's gross.
Well, it's also the game, like 2 truths and a lie, when people play that. And so I've already told my fun fact, but I'll say this. This was like, again, my first job out of college I've spoken about sometimes with cold calling and my email, the FUPA.
Yeah.
But we once had a happy hour and it was 2 truths and a lie. But so the manager, and it was like, you know, hours into it, thank God no tongue licking, but the manager was reading them and she was like, what? I once drank 2 gallons of milk out of a tuba. And they're like, is that right? And they're like, no, it's true. But they made him up. There's a guy on the team that was a bit stiff. And so these people made up, okay, so somehow you like attribute names. And so these people on the team made up. And she's like, what? And said the person's name. He's like, I didn't do that. But he was very stiff. And so other people on the team as a prank made up facts.
That like gives me bully vibes.
It was, I think about this now, and I'm like,
okay, I'm like, I'm not. That makes me a little uncomfortable.
You're like,
I
remember
it because I remember it being funny. Well, he was also in a position of authority, and so he was like, it would be, you know, slightly different with the power dynamics. But I remember he was just different. The things they made up were like wild and crazy.
I would
and being
love to know if anyone has actually drank 2 gallons of milk out of a tuba.
Well, don't do that now.
I know, message us
Kids don't
if
try
you
this at home.
Do
But
you have
I
it on
remember
video?
that and just laughing. Again, and we'd have a number of drinks at the time, so it was funny. Or people listening probably driving into work and they're like, that's strange.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh. Well, I think that's a wonderful transition into more questions.
Transition away from this. We're going to parking lot.
Let's parking lot that.
Okay,
That
yeah.
was good. But, you know, we do receive a lot of questions from you all, which are fantastic. And so we wanted to answer some of those for you all today. The first one that I have here from the question bank, I literally called it that. Share your most bizarre job interview experience you've encountered as an HR professional. And I guess that could be you interviewing or you interviewing somebody else. What do y'all think? Do you have one?
I have one. I was interviewing, but this is not in HR. This was legal. And this is when I was in legal and living in Australia, and the company I was interviewing with knew I lived in Australia. And they scheduled my interviews that started around like 11:30 p.m. midnight my time and continued on until 3:30 in the morning my time. And I got the schedule and I was like, hey, just wanted to confirm local. They're like, yeah, we know if you can make it work. This is when these people can make, and they're very busy. And so again, this is where I talk about the interview feels like a prize. And so my dumbass, what do? I stay up and I put on the blazer. I go down to my kitchen. Again, tell everybody.
Drinking coffee at midnight.
Tell my kids, if you guys have a bedroom, go to daddy's. Mommy's not important. What the fuck?
Yeah, no.
What's wrong with me?
Oh man,
So
that's brutal.
Yeah, I remember taking off the blazer, climbing into bed, trying to get a couple hours of sleep before I woke up and did my real job. So.
See, I've shared a lot of these on my TikTok, you know, like the firing squad interviews.
The firing squad,
I mean, just all sorts of different things that my dumbass has done too, you know. But I had one very similar, which I was interviewing for a role with a startup, so like anything goes. And it was like on a Friday, and they wanted me to sit there going back to back, like 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., no bathroom breaks, hour interviews. And I was like, can we break these up a little bit? Like I kept asking, well, no, right? This is just when everyone's available and they're way more important than you, right? That's basically what they're saying.
Exactly.
Like, fuck your candidate experience. It doesn't
wear
matter.
Wear a diaper. That worked for that astronaut. Didn't work out so well, but that astronaut across the country do it.
Wear a diaper
for sure.
But the first one, like each interview was very interesting. Like someone took their interview with me while on a boat with her dog in her lap. But one of them, we were having the interview, and because you said tuba, I'll share this one. I still need to do a TikTok on this one because this is some shit. But I'm having it, and he's like in a den, and I can see off, I'm being distracted by a younger male, which I'm assuming is a son, like over here in like the living room, through some French doors. And, the person I'm interviewing with, he's talking, he's asking me questions, but I'm watching this kid over here. And then all of a sudden, this kid pulls out a trombone. No shit. And he's getting a trombone prepared. He's practicing. I see him put a stand together. And I'm still trying to concentrate, but I'm kind of looking off this way. And I'm like, oh, shit, like this is what's going to happen here. And I'm literally answering a question. And all of a sudden, he starts practicing. He starts tromboning, right? And it's like, I jumped. I literally fell off my chair. I fell off my chair in the interview, and I had to like recover myself back to the seat. The dad, like he freaked out. He starts cussing at the kid. I'm watching all of this, after we recovered from the floor, because trombones are loud. Oh my! It was so scary. It was like so scary. And he's over there having a fight with this kid, and then he's slamming the French doors, and then he comes back, and it's like. Oh, my heart is racing. Like, I mean, I'm like shaking because it was so loud in my ear, because I was, oh my gosh, But I don't know if he puts milk in it or not. Like, I don't know if he drinks milk out of the trombone, but that was some shit. So that was the first of like 5 back-to-back interviews on a Friday where I'm wearing, spandex on the bottom. Yeah. It's a party downstairs.
The human moment. It's the
professional moment. The blazer upstairs.
Mullet attack.
I think I was racking my brain while y'all were talking.
It's like a typical meeting. You're
exactly.
waiting. You're waiting for your turn.
That's right. No, I was. And something that I found very odd. So I was first out of college and I was looking for a job, and there was a staffing agency because, of course, my degree was in human resources. A staffing agency, and they were very interested in hiring me. And I was very hesitant because that's not really where I wanted to start my career. Mm-hmm. Not that that's a bad thing. That's just not what I wanted to do. And the guy was like, so I interviewed, but he wasn't going to make me an offer until if I came in the next day. And I worked a day for him. Remember, I'm like, 22?
I know.
Right.
Taking full advantage of me coming in, working the next day, and he goes, oh, well, it's so-and-so's birthday in the agency. We're going to have cake. Like, that was my incentive to come in.
Ooh, cake.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, of course, I'm on the phone with him, and I'm like, okay, what time do you want me there? And I'm, like, writing all this stuff down, and I'm thinking, okay, this is my job out of college, and, like, and I'm like, I don't want cake that bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that job. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I ended up getting the benefits assistant job and I haven't mentioned where it was on the podcast, but it was Tractor Supply Company. And I always shout them out, but they're such a good brand and great company to work for. But I'm glad, I'm so glad that I did not take that staffing agency job or get free cake.
So you didn't go?
No.
Well, and let me ask you this.
I wrote him an email the next day, and I was like, thanks, but no thanks.
Because I do think we get that sometimes.
You're like, I had cake for breakfast.
People, and lately,
I can buy my own fucking cake.
One of I think sometimes the actually better innovations is people, or whatever, uses of social media, is people recording these experiences. Recording or talking about them. And so I just saw one of someone that was like, I ended an interview after 60 seconds because of all these things they were surprised about. They were completely inconsistent. But one of the things is how you phrase that. And so people taking that and saying, when you say things like, this isn't going to work for me, if you feel more comfortable not telling them straight up, sometimes you got to do that. But saying, candidly, these are pretty unrealistic expectations that make me not interested in continuing further in the process. I love when people can clearly communicate that and take themselves out and take that power back.
Yeah.
But honestly, thank God for social media and us like speaking about how don't do a free 8-hour day at work.
For real.
No, it's
Because at 22, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I knew that I didn't want to be with that company regardless. But you know.
And business
Yeah,
and
fucking
leaders
crazy.
and business owners don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
require that. That is going to set you up.
That's a free day of labor.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
So speaking of social, question 2 here is, if we had to hire someone solely based on their social profile, what would we look for?
I don't like this question.
As
Yeah.
hiring managers. As HR.
I mean, like I would definitely hire like an Ashley, right? Because she is professional and knowledgeable in her approach on socials. Whereas me, I'm like cussing and kicking my work laptop and giving negative energy. So like you wouldn't think that you'd
Okay.
want to hire me, right?
Right, I hear what you're saying.
So-
I know what you're saying on that.
See, I think people think employers are really looking at their socials. I've never
Oh
looked
yeah,
at
no,
I do
me neither.
right.
Now
No, I think a lot of people-
yeah,
I
there's
have
nothing
had
crazy
hiring
with this
managers
stuff.
though.
No.
Like I'll pass on
Yeah.
candidates, and the hiring manager will be like, "Well, on their social,
Right.
why
right,
the
that's
fuck
my
did
thing.
you check their
I,
social media?"
Yeah, on their
I
social,
actually-
they're
Oh.
chugging milk out of a tuba. What
I
the fuck?
find
What the
I
fuck?
find the people that check social media the most to be hiring managers and those listening.
Yo,
that means
I
the
know.
people that are hiring for the role. So the sales manager, the IT. I can't find it's those people that actually tend to go deep. And then it's HR in smaller organizations
Yeah,
where
they don't
they
have
and
resources.
at times that's because as HR you're often in a smaller organization, have HR recruiting, all of that, and the CEO is expecting you to bring in those candidates, and so that pressure can lead people to go to inappropriate inappropriate places.
I'm trying to think. I'm all grammar. Grammar and a social profile. I don't know. I've never looked at somebody's social before hiring them.
I
Just
haven't
personally,
either.
you know what I mean?
Like if I was hiring for someone for my social brands, I think it'd be different, right? Like I'd want to see.
Oh yeah.
I look at
what,
LinkedIn.
but
I've looked at LinkedIn on a number of occasions. I looked
see,
at LinkedIn.
I don't even usually look at their LinkedIn.
Nope.
I do.
To be
I do.
I
honest.
think LinkedIn. Will
Yeah.
Well, that's also like
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it's like
That tells
anything.
you a
Like
lot. It
like
tells you a lot.
I.
There's an episode on that.
Yeah.
But I do. But I tend to look at people's LinkedIn. But I've frequently been in the position of people bringing things to me, and then I have that conversation.
Oh yeah,
like,
same.
Okay,
Same.
I got it. Like, oh, well, this is not.
And I'm like, why the fuck were you looking? Like, we haven't even hired this person.
Exactly.
Like, you can't.
I haven't even.
And I'm like, I thought you were right. And I'm like, I thought you were so busy that you don't have time to do one.
Yeah,
more.
I know. But yet you're checking their fucking Instagram.
Like,
But you know, and it's funny because I guess about 2 years ago on TikTok, I kind of got in a pissing match with a woman who said that employers are checking socials, and I'm not saying that it's not happening, but I can say in my 21 years, and social media has been around just about that long, that no company I have ever worked for ever has. Now,
officially.
like
Based
yes,
the
I said
based
now
the decision
off record hiring managers. I know they have. Yes.
I know people that have based decisions on it, but at that point, especially when it's come through me,
Oh
like,
yeah.
having been in both legal and HR, like I will generally be as legal telling people, do not look at these things.
Yeah,
These
don't
are
look at
or
that shit.
or it's things of like, oh, this woman dresses inappropriately, and I'm like,
Well, but
have you
even-
gone to the beach? Like I back up, but I have been in situations, and that's the thing, like out of work types of like very inappropriate posts, and in that stance, I've said like absolutely that those viewpoints are very concerning and illegal. So in
Right.
that, and I have seen those situations. But then I'm always like, God, how did we get to this place? How did you get so deep? Like, I stumbled upon it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, and you know, I'll throw in a millennial misery comment in here, but even, you know, back in the day in Facebook, we were like told, don't post your drunk bar pictures because your employers are going to see that.
Well,
That shit's on private, but okay.
it's what people will put on Twitter back in the day. Like I'm not a good Twitter person, but the things that people put on Twitter, like their musings and their rambling things and their like uses of like very like inappropriate like terminology, and I'm like, yeah, like that, not just job wise, like life wise, just to fucking inside thoughts,
Right? Inside.
or not don't have thoughts,
Inside
even
thoughts.
better. But.
All right, next question here. Have we ever had to deal with a situation where an employee's side hustle interfered with their job performance? I have. I've had the candle seller, like in the workplace, where it was just like extreme trying to sell the damn candles, and then the tacos. Because I had
Yeah.
someone that was making the tacos
Right.
and then bringing them in and then
Yeah.
selling them. So I've had numerous taco situations
Yeah.
with the workplace. I've shared a couple already, but
Right.
one where literally, I mean, it was just she's making them. She's late because of that. They're in a cooler. The cooler has to be brought in on a cart, and then she's selling. You know, like you're not
Right.
doing your actual job. You're not the caterer. You know, we didn't hire you
Yes.
for that, but I love your tacos.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, me personally, I don't think it has affected my job, but I know that, since I've been posting on social media since September of 2020 is when I started Humorous Resources, I know that numerous times that my TikToks have been brought up to, my boss or my employer. And even though they're not cutting into my work or my time at work or, that is my side hustle. This is my side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's disappointing because I think you can have both and you can do both separately. Obviously not Taco Lady or Candle Lady, but especially, God, and where we're living right now in this world, a lot of us have to have side hustles.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm kind of
Yeah,
empathetic to
well-
that. Just don't, don't let it bleed over so much.
Right.
That,
I mean, honestly, that we could probably do a whole episode
I
on
know,
that.
right?
But I
Okay,
think one
side
thing is like
hustles,
literally,
it is the pressure of like the employee, or often it's the leader who's like, my child, and that has the pressure of being like, oh, your child's,
selling chocolate.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
Girl
all those
Scout
things.
cookies, but
Yeah.
please,
But I-
I will buy them.
But I know I'm someone who's in the social media world who has a side hustle, and their company had them lead a session for people to show how you've had a side hustle and how they've been able to navigate, like making sure it's not competitive, because like, that's a boundary. I think is obviously fair, like because I've had that of like having a situation where an employee was a salesperson and then they also had their other thing and they go to meetings for the company and they'd be like, well, if you don't want to buy this, I also have the, and so like that's a problem to have a conflicting thing that you're selling for, but this person's company, and I was like, that is so cool. And so they had to talk about how they do that from a time standpoint of like confidential information and how you navigate those boundaries and do that. And again, the point also is like, we don't want you to have to do that, but this is how you can do it. And I thought that was such a great like flip of the switch. So I think for people listening, thinking about that, if there's somebody there that has like a very cool side hustle, like a photography business or something, of like how you do that and how you navigate that as a company, I think there's a lot of opportunities there that people miss because you see like no side hustle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I had to turn my side hustle into a full-time hustle.
yeah, you are
So
hustling.
I quit the corporate thing, you know what I mean? The thing.
The corporate
Nearly
fuck
20
off.
years was enough of that. shit.
Yeah, right.
But we appreciate those questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I think that we can transition into questions and comments. And maybe we can ask each other some more questions, like fun facty questions.
What do
I
you
have a question.
Okay,
I have like a go-to icebreaker that I like to use, so I got
Oh,
something.
okay. If you weren't doing what you were doing now, right? Or when you were younger, what would the dream job be? Like if you could do it. You know.
She's so
She
ready.
does,
Look
she's
at her.
ready. She
I'm
has
ready.
all the fun fact question answered.
What I am doing is partially what I wanted to do my whole life is partially what I'm doing now that I went 2 decades without. And this is when I was a kid, I did want to be a lawyer, and I didn't really want to be a lawyer. I just said it. And so I made a sheriff's badge at the Kentucky State Fair. That's at Ashley Vinsel, my when I was 10 years old. What a fucking loser. But actually not, like corporate lawyer. Ashley Vinsel, corporate lawyer. And I don't know, I didn't have any lawyers in our family. My parents at that point in time, I think both neither had graduated college at that point. But anyway, what I really wanted was to be a playwright. And I ended up going to the Youth Performing Arts School in high school and taking classes for playwriting, had performed at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. I got second, I think, in this playwriting competition when I was a kid in like the whole city.
That is so awesome,
and
actually.
I loved it and I wanted to do it, and then I went to college and I just put it to the side. And so I then picked, like the way I do it now is with my TikToks. I script about
Your
50
newsletters are
50
fun.
I do. I
That's
write
your
our
best
newsletter.
work.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
I love
The
I love
newsletters.
to write. I
Newsletters
love
She's a
it.
good writer.
And so,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Write
have
my
newsletter.
shit for me, I'll perform.
But I mean,
Okay, write
if
me
you if you are listening to this and you're like, but I always wanted to do this, there are ways that you can weave it in. And sometimes people wake up at 4 a.m. and do that. Like, I fucking cannot do that. But like, you find ways and snippets to do it. I have come alive in doing it. And even though I do it about like HR things, which isn't exactly what I thought I wanted to do, but my what I wanted to do is write a spec script for The Office. and I talked about this 15 years ago, called Whoa Manager for a Day, and do a script about how Michael Scott realizes there's no managers, female managers, because there weren't at Dunder Mifflin. And so he had a competition to have something called Whoa Manager for a Day for a female to become a manager. And so I had this whole spec script, and again, did nothing with it. But I have now woven that concept into some of my TikTok videos with Luke. But so that is my thing. So I think you can find ways to make it come alive. But I've always been a good player. I do have a whole screenplay on something else.
That's awesome.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So growing up, this is actually really funny. I always wanted to be a radio DJ.
What?
I know, that's why it's so funny right now that like here we are.
You did. I remember you
having
made
a semi-successful podcast. So okay,
semi.
I'm having a successful.
Yeah, I'm having. Which one are you?
Okay, we're in the top 10 of the business podcast. Right. Anyway, but no, so I used to have this cassette recorder, and my mom, actually I still have some of the cassettes, and so I would like literally record myself a whole like morning show, radio morning show.
Jamie.
So it's very funny that I'm sitting here on this couch with you ladies.
Mic in your face.
I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that wild? Yeah. But yeah, I'm a very creative person, so
Yes.
creating humorous resources for me was like a great outlet. And I don't think I realized how much I didn't have an outlet, because in HR you don't. It can be black and white, but you can get some fun in there. But this social media and this podcast has really allowed me to, kind of flex my creative muscle. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, I wanted to be a checkout person at the supermarket. Because remember back in the day, it was like the laser, like red asterisks. You remember that? And
It was so cool.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So I had all these pictures that I drew when I was like in preschool and kindergarten because I wanted to do that. And then I wanted to be an Egyptologist, and I learned hieroglyphics all crazy, and I'd write in hieroglyphics, and I love that. And that's still like the number one place I want to go is Egypt.
That is
Have
really
you
fucking
you haven't
cool.
been?
I haven't been yet, so it's like the top place for my whole life.
That should be
Did
your
you
first
work
time,
at?
too.
Did you ever work at a grocery store?
No, but I still feel like I want to do that just part time sometimes.
I've
I
worked at Winn-Dixie. I've worked at Kmart. It is very it's very satisfying. But sometimes now the self checkout you have you can have
yes,
the
the gun's my
laser gun.
favorite.
If anybody's ever worked at a grocery store, I'm gonna say 4011, and you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I mean?
No, of course
No.
not. 'Cause I work
Is that a
at-
banana?
Thank you.
Oh,
That's
oh
the
my
code.
God, I'm
It's
so
the
proud of
code.
myself.
If you like, when I worked at Winn-Dixie, we had to do a test of all the
Yeah.
codes, but
Yeah.
like cashier, that's your telltale if you worked in a grocery store. You'll
Okay.
never forget 4011.
Yeah. But then I grew out of the Egyptologist thing, and I always wanted to be an opera singer. So I'm operatically trained.
You
and,
you sang this morning. You sang Evita to
yeah.
us. You have a beautiful
I know
voice.
it all. Yeah, so I do. But I'm a mezzo. You can tell because my voice is so low.
What's
you know,
mezzo
I'm I'm not a soprano. Like I would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
to be, like the lead, because I was like, I played the violin too, and I was
I got
always
these
a
skills.
first violin.
Would you sing for us?
No, I'm not gonna sing on this shit. I'm
That's
not ready.
extra. You got
Yeah, that's
It's a
extra. It's way
subscription.
too loud. No, it's actually really, really loud. And I
that's
have
a
to
fair
stand
point.
it to sing with my diaphragm and all of
Yeah.
this. If you actually wanted the opera, I can do it for you later. But
Yes, please.
it's a little different here. I can't just do it.
Come on, perform me.
No,
Sing.
no, dance, monkey.
True. It's like when you make a video that people are like, great, now make one about a completely different topic. Like, I'll catch up.
Yeah, but I would if I could. You know. What
You
I
do,
mean?
but Lee sang this morning. Jamie and I sang. It was on our stories, which will be
But I wasn't good enough
and
to
Lee
like
sang. It
make
was
money.
beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like that. It was all about money. But I remember I did see something somewhere that said if you didn't have to worry about money, all of us would be doing the arts.
Of
Yeah.
course.
It's so
Of
true
course.
because we love to create. Who
Yeah.
actually want to create?
Yeah.
They crave it.
Yeah.
Q's and C's. Anybody else got a Q?
I was just my question for y'all was, what is your like go-to icebreaker? I can go first if y'all want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
because
for
I
it.
don't do them. So,
So- I will usually ask like what would be your at-bat music? Yeah. It's yeah, like you know how in baseball, like
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
they walk up and they have like a hype up
yeah.
song.
Smooth by Rob Thomas and Santana.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just love that song.
It feels like your vibe.
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
it starts.
I like that a lot. I mean, probably Welcome to Atlanta.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know,
I'm too late over the plate.
exactly. Like I love that, and I get all excited when I go to Braves game. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
What about you?
Mine. So I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the pod, but like I literally wanted to be Little Kim. Like I wanted to be.
Oh yeah, I can totally
Like,
see that.
yeah, like I've always been obsessed with her, so probably be the jump off.
That's
by
a
Lil'
great.
Kim.
That's a great.
You got matching booties.
Like Little Kim. I seriously.
Oh, that's amazing. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I
So.
love it.
I love that too.
Okay, so we talk about corporate cringe, and this doesn't have to be a corporate word. So just quickly, what is a word that you like saying? That it feels good when you say it.
Squirt. No.
Oh, that's the other thing.
I'm just kidding. Carla, you can cut that out.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Carla, cut that out. I was just kidding. I was just kidding.
that in.
No, leave it.
Carly's our producer. Don't you dare exit that. Like,
I'm trying to be all positive. Let's give people a good. You're looking in my ear with that.
oh my gosh.
Fun, but come on.
I love 3-syllable words.
Okay.
Like I love when this sounds so weird,
Syllable?
but this is me. I'm all poetic and shit. Like syllable, right? Syllable. I just love.
Check in real quick.
I do. You've seen my content. Like there's like this art of language, and I just like the timing of everything and the cadence of everything. I think about all of that, and so I love the longer words because I can keep them in my mouth longer, and I can do things with them, right? Because I'm kind of like a voice
That
actor.
sounds so dirty.
It does sound dirty, that's what I'm saying. But it is like it just like you know brings me life, right? It's one of those things. Like that's my thing, right? So using my voice.
Yeah.
So alliteration is so beautiful. Serendipitous.
I don't know if I have a word I love saying.
Besides squirt.
I really I can't think of anything. I love obviously with all my brands, I love millennial misery, horrendous HR. I love parody parenting.
Good.
I love all that, and then obviously my husband and I both have J names. Our last name's a J. Our kids are J's. All of our
she's like a Jordashian.
Yeah.
all of our dogs are B names. That was not completely on accident, but
BJ?
B names. We
BJ,
got
I know, but
Biscuit, Blue,
B and
and
J.
Biggie. So you know what I mean. I think I just love alliteration.
Yeah, I got that.
What about you? Did you say one?
I like sassafras.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Ooh. Oh, I say razzle dazzle.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
kind
it's
of
like,
the idea.
it's like
yeah,
a, it like
so
I feel like there's like glitter that comes up.
rhythm,
Totally.
glitter.
Razzle dazzle. I love Chicago. It's such a great music.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
good.
know, right? Oh gosh, the old razzle dazzle.
The old razzle dazzle.
Well, thank you so much for letting us give you a little razzle dazzle and
Razzle-dazzle.
sassafras and squirts. Oh, that's oh god,
So
not like that. Jesus.
Oh,
But anyways, that's a wonderful segue to finish this meeting before some of us get written up.
yeah, Katie's gonna have a real fun fact.
Fun fact, I got written up for saying sport.
Exactly.
Discipline.
Thanks for letting us share some of our fun facts with
formal
you,
write-up.
besties.
Print it.
That's good. That's a good.
I actually think that's fine for to
Yeah,
go
I do
along
too.
as well. Like
Yeah,
I think the
that's
rest of
better.
them, like that was.
I have more questions.